Hey everybody, Norm over here. We got another segment of Ask Norm, and I don't know why you asked me anything, but I was standing outside the store. Yeah, you don't know either. Speaking of which, I saw these guys outside the store. They had a hat out there. They had about $6 in there. My buddy Johnny over here was playing an accordion, and he was jumping around like a monkey. They got about $6 together. I said, when are you coming here? We're doing Ask Norm segment. But anyhow.
Well, so I came in and I asked Norm, you got any other used accordions?
Yes.
The one I worked, it was working, didn't work right.
We're going to start accordion repair.
I asked Norm for some more money.
Yeah, thank you. By the way, this is my buddy Johnny A., one of the great guitar players, one of the greatest I've ever heard, honestly. Dave Amato, another great guitar player, plays with REO. Johnny, you're doing the thing now with the Yardbirds, right?
Yardbirds, yeah, I do my own thing, and I'm touring with the Yardbirds now on my third tour with them. We're actually on our way to Japan tomorrow.
Fantastic. Well, I saw him on the Joe Bonamassa Blues Cruise. I've seen him several times and ran up to him and said, man, you play great. Finally, he said, what's your name? I said, Norm. He said, Norm from the guitar store? So we've become fast buddies.
Norm from the world-renowned guitar store.
Dave, you just got back. How many dates did you guys just do with Def Leppard?
52 shows with Tesla and Def Leppard.
All summer long,
All summer.
gallivanting around the United States to sold-out crowds.
Exhausted.
And by the way, this is Mark Agnesi, the store manager, great guitar player as well. I don't know what I'm doing here in this conversation, but what the hell.
Should we get to some questions?
Yeah, let's get this couple questions.
Okay, I got.
Let's talk to
We'll
Mark.
open this up to everybody too.
Okay.
This is from Spike White. How does chambering a guitar affect the tone and sustain? You guys got a lot of
should go that way.
Gibson experience here. What do you guys have any thoughts on chambered guitars?
Well, my model's not chambered, but
Well-
in a sense, it's built like one of the chambered
Right.
Les Pauls, where they take the solid piece of mahogany and they hollow it out. But in my case, in my model, I wanted a hollow body sound. But when I listen to the difference of, let's say, a true historic R9 or something, and then a chambered R9, what I hear is a kind of a diminished mid-range in the guitar. I don't hear quite the punch that I would hear in a piece that's totally solid. I don't know if
Do you have any chambered? Have we sold you any chambered stuff, or everything you have? is
No,
pretty
I
much
think I have
solid?
some chambered. Yeah,
Some of the Cloud
I
nines
don't
and
notice
stuff.
that much difference, but the weight is a factor. It's
I gotta be honest, that's the only thing I mean, you put any 10 Les Pauls together, they all sound a little bit different.
I don't
It's-
hear much difference myself.
Well, the guy in my band uses a chambered Les Paul, and I definitely hear a dip in the mids.
I mean, you guys are Gibson. I mean, one time I was at Gibson, they handed me this Les Paul that was the top, and then the whole back of the guitar was gone. And their whole point was trying to prove to you that, just like with acoustic guitars, a lot of the sound is what's coming off the maple cap. I don't know. Obviously,
That's true,
there's
yeah.
slight difference in tone, but
Well,
It's-
the sound of a guitar has to do with the complete chemistry of the guitar, including the pickups, just the wood, the density of the wood and all that. Yeah, I mean, and there's the guitars that are not chambered that vary in weight tremendously. So, I mean, how do you kind of pinpoint one to the other? There are some differences, but a lot of it is going to depend on the individual guitar.
Well, sometimes if you depends what type of music you're doing too. If you're plugged into a Marshall, it's not going to be much difference. You're not going to really hear the.
It's gonna sound loud and
it's gonna
raspy.
sound
Throw a
like-
few effect pedals on it, and they
Exactly, all sound the same.
So-
But I mean, if you're playing really clean, I suppose you could really hear the difference in a hollow or a solid.
And by the way, both of these guys have models by Gibson, and Johnny A's is probably one of the only models that I can think of that they developed in the years since the golden age of their building. That really makes a lot of sense to me because I mean it's different. It's kind of almost Barney Kesselish, but smaller, and it's a very cool guitar.
Well, it came out of the idea of that guitar came when I did my first album. Most of the album was recorded with an ES-295, P90s,
Right.
ES-295. About 70% of the record was recorded with that. And I used Les Pauls, I used Firebirds, I used 335s as well. But the majority of my sound was built on that 295. And playing live, the hard time you have with a big hollow body playing at impressive volumes, it's tough to do. So when they came to me, we talked about trying to develop a guitar that was a thin line guitar that still had the hollow components, the tone of the hollow, but was able to do a multitude of things, be able to scream like a Les Paul, give me the hollow tone of the 295. I didn't want P90s because I didn't want the noise live. You know, you can deal with that in the studio, but live, it's a different thing. So we went with humbuckers, but to maintain the kind of the attack that you get off a 295, we went with a 25.5-inch scale,
Right.
and an ebony neck. And even though the 295 is a 24.75-inch scale and a rosewood board, just the set of the neck and the angle, everything is more of an attack on that guitar. It's a quick attack and a kind of a subdued bloom on it, and that's what I was trying to get out of that guitar.
And with your guitar, you can play at a higher volume
You
than
can,
you
yeah.
would with like, a 295 or Marty Kessel or any of that kind of
Exactly,
stuff, right?
And it's a solid top, it's not a ply top, so that might have something to do with it. And the other thing that we did with that is instead of carving, it's a carved top, and its inside is carved to mirror the outside, but in the back, how it's carved, the inside is carved flat. So it's a little bit of almost like a feedback buster because the air it breaks as it hits around, the back of the guitar.
Very cool. And Dave, you have a new model out too?
Yeah, it's based on an Axis that's been out for a little while, but Gibson wanted something different to come out of line to kind of revive the Axis line. So I just thought of like a one pickup, just hot rodded lead player's guitar.
Junior standard.
Yeah, it's kind of like a junior-ish with one humbucker. It's got a 57 Classic Plus pickup. And I just kind of, I'm playing one right now, TV yellow finish. I kind of like, we made it like a little bit more flaming than this. There's no flames in this basically, but so we made it like HD TV. And it says a Floyd Rose on it, so you can, it's like a Strat. You can make it like, a Strat. I love a Les Paul with myself with a tremolo.
Yeah, we use
So-
dive bombs
Yeah.
on occasion and stuff.
And yes, exactly. So and it has Gibson has never had white ebony fretboard before. So they found some wood in the back room and they decided like, let's try this white ebony because we never put it on the Gibson. So it's kind of we had to stain it. Like at first it was really white, so they stained it down a little bit. So, but it plays just like a regular ebony, and it's really fast. And
Cool.
I like this what it did for the guitar. Really made it like an old custom.
Johnny, I've seen you use a Bigsby a lot, and you
Yeah.
really know how to use a Bigsby. I mean, for the
Yeah.
guys that are using real heavy vibrato and the dive bomb stuff, that might not be as good for your thing.
No, the Floyd-
it
the
might
Floyd
not be
you
good.
can- yeah.
But he uses it gently and really gets
Yeah,
that
the
beautiful
Bigsby
vibrato
is
sound.
really just trying. I'm an instrumental guitarist. That's what my thing is, and I use it for more of a vocal quality, the way a vocalist might finish their phrase with a little bit of vibrato on their voice. It's not, the Bigsby's not for the extreme type of player. It's not that type of thing. It's just, but there's something about the girth and just the metallology or the metallology of a Bigsby being so much metal there that it adds a certain kind of liquid tone. It's just,
yeah.
I think it's a beautiful sounding tailpiece. Kind of archaic in design, but
Well, if you use it gently, and that's the way it was supposed to be used, and guys were using flat wounds
Yeah.
back in the day
Right,
when the
exactly.
Bigsby's
Right,
first
yeah.
came out.
and that's how I used it on the first record. The 295 had the Bigsby, and I used flat wounds with a wound G, and that was
Cool.
kind of the sound of it.
So we got any other questions?
I've got a couple other questions here. I don't know, either of you guys are Rickenbacker guys, but Riley Shade asks, do you think there's a big difference between Rickenbacker's toaster pickups and their more, modern high gain pickups?
I absolutely think they are. I
I do as well.
I have a reissue, the George Harrison with the Scatawon toaster
Yeah.
pickups, and they're extremely low output, but I think that's really the sound. I mean, as soon as I plugged that thing, I got it to do my last record. I needed a 12-string, and I picked up this reissue, the George Harrison, like the one on a Hard Day's Night, with the bound top. And as soon as you plugged it in, you played it, it sounded
Instant.
just like it.
I tell guys that a lot. I think a lot of it depends on the application. If it's a studio guitar, I tell guys go toasters every time. There's a charm about that pickup that I think gets lost in the high gains. If you're playing live, the high gain, you can't unplug your Les Paul and plug in a toaster because your volume's just gonna it's gonna be a nightmare for sound guys. You're gonna have to throw other boxes in front of it. But there is a charm about that toaster pickup. It's instant Tom Petty. It's instant
I agree.
birds.
Right.
You just like don't need anything in front of it.
You
I
throw it
think-
through a Vox and you're there.
Yeah, and
You're a
speaking
Beatle guy too, Dave.
Oh
I mean,
yeah,
I've,
the toaster pickups.
You've got
That's
some
right.
retro guitar.
I don't even know
mix.
why they make those other pickups, tell you the truth, you know, as, in a Rickenbacker.
They serve a purpose.
I mean,
but-
yeah, I guess for playing live, it does serve the purpose, but it does lose. It sounds like a Rickenbacker, but I think it loses a little bit
Yeah,
of charm.
yeah.
Speaking on this kind of 12-string thing, Ben James asks, "Hey Norm, what is your perfect 12-string acoustic and 12-string electric?" Let's talk about 12 strings for a second.
Okay. Well, I mean, you know, obviously that British sound, 12-string electrics. Rickenbacker is probably the definitive,
No.
but
Yeah,
you know,
sure.
a lot of people don't know that Jimmy Page used the Fender Electric 12,
Yeah.
and they're kind of cool because they have that baritone switch on
A lot of
them
usable
that's
sounds in that
really
guitar, yeah.
interesting, and you know, and they
Tough
sound
guitar to play though.
yeah.
Yes.
Kind of a tough
Yeah.
guitar
Well,
to
I
play
think
for
some
me.
of it depends on how it's set up. It's got to be set up just right and all that.
And you have the double neck Fenders, right? You have a 612.
Oh, yeah,
Telly,
I have,
right?
I have a Telly pick. Yeah, I have a Telly one that's kind of fun. You know, but I'd rather. I mean, I'd gravitate towards the Gibson, like Jimmy Page. You know, the 12 on
ES
there.
1275, yeah.
Speaking
nothing.
of which, I just sold Richie a really nice 335-12 that he really
Oh, yeah,
likes, you know.
335-12? Oh,
He's
man.
doing that new, Richie Sambori's doing a new album with Oriente,
Oriente,
and
yeah.
Bob Rock's producing it. And they're getting a lot of really good guitar sounds. That's something, I've heard a lot of this stuff that was finished, and it's damn good. I mean, people are going to be really...
Richie's,
Sure.
You know, he's my buddy. He's
Yeah,
tremendous.
He's
Great guitar player.
something else, and I think you guys will hear when you hear these new tunes because they're really well done.
That's great.
And in terms of acoustic 12s, me, hands down, Guild Jumbo will win anything. There's a lot of great acoustic 12 strings out there, but I'll take a Guild Jumbo 12 string
There's a
pretty
few
much any day of the
boutique
week.
12 strings that are cool too, like the Taylor. Well, Taylor is not super boutique, but I mean, we've had like
Olsons
Don
and
Mussers
Musser,
and
yeah.
Olsons and different things like that that are pretty crazy. We sold Paul Simon, actually,
Olson,
a friend of
yeah.
ours who gave it to Paul Simon, a killer Olson 12 that really sounds terrific. So, you know, a lot of it depends on the player and the player's attack. One guy's guitar, depending on how hard he strikes the guitar, one guitar is going to sound perfect for him, and he's going to pick up the next guitar, and it's not going to sound that good. And the next guy's going to do just the opposite. And,
Right.
you know, so
I have a Martin 12 string too. That
Oh, yeah, there's some very good ones.
It sounds amazing in the studio.
Sure.
I kind of gravitate towards maybe a Gibson, you know, for me, but the Martin sounds.
you know, the Gibsons, you know, can be a little more dead sounding, but for strumming and stuff, I remember like Peter and Gordon and
Sure, yeah.
Chad and Jeremy and all those early British groups, you know,
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of them use those Gibson 12s. And they're not particularly loud, but they sound cool.
All the Gibson 12s seem to be based off of lower end models, though. B25 12s, B45 12s. They never really did a J200
What did
12
Keith
or
Richards
anything.
No.
use
Yeah.
on As Tears Go By? Was that a Gibson?
You know, I'm not sure on that. Keith, on As Tears Go By?
I know he used a lot of Martin 12s. I know he's got a lot of like
Right back in the
D12.
early
12. Yeah, I
days?
think back then too.
He used a lot of
I'm
Gibsons,
not
though, didn't he?
Well, he
Six
used
a lot of
hummingbirds.
six dubs,
Hummingbirds.
He used a
Hummingbirds.
lot of
Yeah.
different everything. I mean, you
Yeah.
know, he changed guitars. He was like one of the first guys to really, you know, switch guitars with every tune and, you know, that kind of thing, you know, so,
Hate
he's
that.
had everything.
That's the word.
You're,
You only bring one guitar
I
on the
love
road,
that.
right?
I love
Just one
that.
guitar
I
and
change
a kickback,
guitar every
right?
song. I
Yeah.
love that.
Wait, but let me just ask, how many do you bring on the road with you?
20.
Two vaults of 10?
vaults of
Is that
10,
for in the States?
Yeah.
When you guys do Europe or stuff like that, what, or do you just have a...
Europe, I'm bringing, the truck's leaving no, it's leaving Thursday, what's tomorrow? Thursday, I don't know, Thursday, like I bring 6.
to Europe?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
what about you? What kind of stuff are you bringing on the
I
road?
usually only bring 3, but with the Yardbirds, I just got a junior on my back, and that's it.
And that's it, just plug it straight in.
It's like just it's great. It's just so simple. It's so primitive, and I'm really getting into this junior thing lately. I've been addicted to it. I love the simplicity of it, and I love being able to draw the tones out of one pickup and one volume.
Just
and
play
one
with the
tone.
tones.
Just play.
We were
There
just,
were a couple other guitar players that played with the Yardbirds that had a
One
pretty nice
pickup
career at
guitar.
one point or other,
Pickup,
right?
yeah.
One
They're
pickup
okay.
guitar,
Yeah, let me see. What's his name? Jeff what? Beck,
Jeff-
maybe?
Jeff Page.
Yeah.
Jeff
Beck.
Yeah, Jeff
Jeff Page.
Let me
The
see
one-
here.
We were talking about the one pickup, and lately I've been on a one pickup kick with Les Pauls and.
So
and
what do you
Squires.
think? What do you
Yeah.
think?
Firebird
So I
ones
heard-
we're talking
Firebird
about?
ones.
I was talking to somebody about one pickup guitars, and you know how they always seem to sound great, even like an Esquire or
Yeah.
You know
Junior,
what? The two pickups sort of bleed a little bit. you
Well,
know.
I always thought that might have been because the wood not cut out of the but I had heard a theory that it was the magnetic pull of the two pickups.
Less pull on the
Less
strings
pull
down.
on the string, and the way that
Because even when the pickup's not on, that
it's still
magnet's
pulling.
pulling
And
down.
that seemed to make more sense to me.
Yeah.
I think the way it rings,
No.
in fact, the magnet pull.
Let me see, I got one
Plus
more
they look
question
cool.
here. They do look cool. One more question. This is for Norm, but I'll open this up to everybody because everybody meets famous people around here. This is from Desmond T. Have you ever met a famous artist in your store or on the road who wasn't at all how you expected them to be? Far more kinder, bigger asshole, whole kind of thing.
Well, this guy is like
The
one of the
worst.
biggest assholes I've ever met, and he brings all these other guys in, you know, off the street. Actually,
they're
Dave,
assholes too.
Dave's one of my good buddies, and he brought everybody from Ted Nugent
I
to
did.
Richie Sambora to the guys in Aerosmith.
Well, look at the
to
store.
Johnny,
Come
you know,
on.
I mean, you know,
Johnny Hay, I
Dave
just
is
brought
one of
Johnny
our
Hay in.
best victims. I mean, not victims, customers.
Victims.
He's for many years, and he has a direct deposit that goes right into my bank account, and I like it. It makes it so much easier that way.
Johnny says today, let's go to Norm's. Like, no, please, no. Okay, let's go.
I was hoping that you didn't have that junior here because I wanted to go back home with the same money I left with.
Well, listen, you guys are going to leave a little more money because these guys come in, they can't even afford shoelaces. Look at this. I don't know whether
yeah,
this
look at
is
that.
like
I
a
didn't know.
style or
But
what.
Bostonians, there
I'm
you go.
going to buy both of these guys a pair of shoelaces
All right.
for doing this segment. And, you know,
Well,
don't ever say that
Well, then I
I'm
need
cheapskate.
$11,000.
That I can't help you with. The shoelaces I'm going to take care of.
But we only got a few minutes left here. We got to wrap. Why don't you guys play us out a little bit? You guys got some nice guitars. Let's hear some. Yeah.
Hey, a little more,
What's
a little
he?
more like to let you or some of that stuff that you were doing.
I need reverb. I gotta get that.
Oh, he needs reverb, you know.
Yeah, to get that.
That's in another store. I have to go to another store. So there was no.
I'm out of tune.
You got the solo, I like it. Ooh. Stop.
Very beautiful. The great Johnny A. The great Dave Amato.
Johnny.
The great Mark Agnesi.
The great Norm Aaron.
Norm Aaron.
Ask Norm, send in your questions. Thank you, guys.